And that's how Tyson Hesse saved Sonic the Hedgehog. Hello there. Okay, fine. We'll talk about the Sonic movie. When it comes to video game film adaptations, most fans have learned to lower their expectations. More often than not, gaming movies fail to capture the magic of whatever it was that made fans love those games in the first place. Some of the movies are fun, but almost all gaming movies are weird or off-putting in some way. The exception to this seems to be Disney's Wreck-It Ralph, which presented a world of game characters who knew they lived in a video arcade, kind of like a digital version of Toy Story. And that film's biggest real-life video game guest star was none other than Sonic the Hedgehog.
Wifey?
Actually pronounced Wi-Fi, Ralph.
Yeah, that's what I said.
So when it was announced that Sega and Paramount Pictures were working on an official Sonic the Hedgehog movie, there was some hope that the film would follow the model laid out by Wreck-It Ralph, portraying an on-model, on-brand Sonic very much like the character we know from existing games and Sonic media. But then, the posters leaked, and we saw this, and then this, and maybe this. A lot of these images have started to surface recently, showing off what seems to be a full look at Sonic's 2019 film redesign. And yeah, there's a lot going on here. Not only does this version of Sonic have two distinct separated eyes, but he's far more muscular, sporting a more athletic-looking body. And the first question on a lot of fans' minds has been, well, why? The answer to that might lie in the premise of the movie. The upcoming Sonic the Hedgehog film isn't a movie that takes place in Sonic's world, but our own. In other words, this is Paramount's attempt to rework Sonic the Hedgehog to fit in a human world. And the results of that attempt are startling, maybe even a little unsettling. But I'm far from the first person to comment on it. Countless people online have joked about the design, or tried to reinterpret it to more closely match the source material. One of those pieces of fan art even got the attention of Sonic's original creator, Yuji Naka, who retweeted a photoshopped version of Movie Sonic reworked to look more like the character's traditional design. If that retweet alone isn't enough of rejection of Movie Sonic's design, Naka made his own comments clear on Twitter, which were translated by Kotaku, and it's not exactly a ringing endorsement. Naka didn't directly criticize the design, but did make a point of pointing out the ratio to Movie Sonic's head to his body, and called particular attention to the shape of his abdomen and the character's lack of gloves. In other words, he pointed out that by making Sonic look more realistic, the designers of this film made him look less like a cartoon. And if you ask me, that's what really makes this Sonic redesign feel off to everybody. It's not that he has realistic skin or fur, or that he has two eyes instead of Sonic's weird mono-eye design. It's not even the painfully obvious product placement Nike shoes. It's that this version of Sonic the Hedgehog isn't a cartoon, and that makes an enormous difference. Sonic the Hedgehog may be best known as a video game hero, but he's also a character that was heavily inspired by classic cartoon icons like Mickey Mouse, Felix the Cat, and Doraemon. Sure, Sonic the Hedgehog has always been a bit edgier than those characters, taking on an aggressive, over-the-top 1990s cool guy persona. But underneath that mascot with an attitude has always been a classically designed cartoon hero. Charismatic, adventurous, and, despite everything, kind of cute. That universally appealing character design is one of the reasons Sonic works so well as a straight cartoon character in the Sonic Mania Adventure shorts. In the new movie design, as we've seen it, that appeal is gone. And it's not something that had to be gone, too. By contrast, if you look at the upcoming Detective Pikachu movie, you have these characters that are still very much the same essence and design and cartoon characters that they are in the Pokemon games, but still look realistic and fitting into a realistic world. Sonic doesn't have any of that. Now, what does that really mean? Well, it might mean that the character was redesigned by committee, with the voices of executives and designers and fans all clashing together to create one big compromise. It might mean that the movie is stepping away from that cartoon ideal to fit in with a more broad audience, to try and catch viewers who wouldn't go see a cartoon Sonic movie, but might see another kind of Sonic the Hedgehog movie. Either way, it does mean that this isn't exactly the same Sonic that many people grew up loving. But that doesn't necessarily mean that this movie is going to be all bad. I'm not personally a fan of the whole cartoon fantasy characters living in the real world cliche, and I'm honestly surprised that Sega let this movie go forward with this design. But I also know that films like this don't get off the ground without somebody incredibly passionate behind it. Somewhere behind this bizarre Sonic redesign is a person who desperately wants to tell a Sonic story that they're passionate about. Someone who is willing to make this compromise in visual style to get the movie made. They may not even like the design themselves, but they probably love Sonic the Hedgehog. They probably have a passion for the character that allows them to make the sacrifice of losing the vision of the character that they prefer in order to tell a story that they care about and want to share with other fans. There's a lot I don't like about what I've seen about this movie before, but I'm absolutely looking forward to seeing how that person's passion for the character shines through this strange compromise in visual style. And that's also the important thing to remember about this movie. All we know of it are a few leaked images and screenshots. We don't really know what it's about, or how it's going to be portrayed, or if the comedy or writing is good. All we know is that it's a weird looking Sonic. Well, and we know two other things. We know that Sonic the Hedgehog is being voiced by Ben Schwartz, who plays Dewey Duck on DuckTales and Leonardo on the new Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles show. And we also know that Dr. Eggman is going to be played by Jim Carrey. And if you're going to seriously tell me that you're not down for seeing a movie starring Jim Carrey as Dr. Robotnik, then man, I just don't believe you. That's it for this quick video, just talking about the new Sonic movie a little bit off the cuff. Let me know what you think about this movie in the comments below, and if you're looking forward to it when it comes out, and maybe we'll revisit this when we get an actual trailer, hopefully later this year. Either way, thanks for watching as always, keep watching, stay tuned, and as always, take it easy, Internet.